Okay, so for tonight's class, I want to speak about a topic. It's a topic in Rebbe Nachman, but it's really a topic in Judaism in general. It's a topic in life in general. We're going to talk about the topic of anger, how to overcome anger, and this is connected to the month we've just entered, the month of Tevis, because it says in Sefer Yetzirah that according to Kabbalah, every month has a certain trait which is connected to that month, and the trait which is connected to the month of Tevis is Rogez, okay, which is anger. So there's something connected to this month, which is about anger, so I thought it would be appropriate to, even though we're not doing the months of the year class of the series anymore, you can look that up on YouTube, and Capricorn, and Shalom. And so we're talking about how to overcome anger, and hopefully we'll find things from Rebbe Nachman about this. So first of all, it's important to know that anger is a horrible thing. Okay? It's not something to make peace with. It's not something to embrace. Okay, like that's my thing. I'm an angry person. You know, it's something that absolutely needs to be obliterated. It needs to be dealt with. And the Chazal say horrible things about getting angry. They say that number one, they say kol hakayis kilo ovid avodah zarah. Anybody who gets angry, it's like they worship idols. They say that kol hakayis chachmaso mistalakas mimenu. That anybody that gets angry, so all of their wisdom leaves them. They become stupid. And it says kol hakayis kol mei gehenim shaltim b'oid. It gets horrible punishments in the world to come. There's a crazy thing from the Zohar Kodesh that the Arizal brings from the Zohar that b'shasha adam kais haneshama hakdosha mistalakas mimenu legamri. That at the moment that a person gets angry, so his holy soul, his divine soul, leaves him entirely. V'nichneses v'mkoima nefesh mitzad haklipa. And instead of your divine soul, the source of our soul, which is something very holy, so that divine soul leaves us. And for the moment that we're very angry, so we have an impure soul. Okay, so basically we're from the perspective of our soul at the moment that we are getting angry, that we're angry. So we're like a guy. Like we don't have a nefesh elokis. We don't have the holiness that we're supposed to have. And it says that this is what really the pasuk means in Eov. It says toref nafsho be'apo. That taref nafsho literally means that you just rip apart your soul be'apo with your anger. That when a person gets angry, so you're doing horrible things to your soul. And the Vilna Gaon writes, he has a sefer Amidos called Even Shlema, and he writes that the entire reason why a person was brought into this world is to be able to fix his midos. And he writes that there are three cardinal bad midos. There's three cardinal negative character traits that are the sources of everything else, and that is kas, taiva, and gaiva. That anger is number one. The number one thing on his list of the bad character traits the person has to deal with. Number one is anger. Number two is lust, and number three is ego, is arrogance. So this is perhaps like the most important, the most fundamental thing the person has to deal with. The person has to not make peace with. That if it's something to be aware of with the people around us, to stay away from people that are angry. It's something to ask about shidduchim. Does this person have anger issues? It's an important thing. It can ruin your life in many ways, and so there's a very interesting teaching from Rebbe Nachman. He writes in the Kuti Moran Nun Zayin that it says in the Gemara that kaved kayas. It means that there's some connection, a spiritual connection between the liver and anger. That the source on a spiritual level, the source of anger is from your liver. So drinking alcohol. So Rebbe Nachman writes on that hi, welcome. That when it says kaved kayas, so it says in the Zohar that kaved is connected to Esav. That it says that Esav has a certain control over the kaved, and when it says that's why the kaved it says it's full of blood. It's full of blood. The liver is full of blood. That's why, like halachically, there's different halachas about how to kasher a liver is harder than to kasher a regular piece of meat, because it's kulei dam. It's like it's all of the blood goes through the liver in order to get cleansed, and so is that regular salting doesn't help to get the blood out of the liver, and because because it's kulei dam, and that's what we find by Esav. Esav was red. He was admoni. It was like he was completely red. So that's come to tell you that there's a connection between Esav and the kaved, and the kaved is the source of anger is from the kaved. So that's why Esav. It's what Esav says a char b'chasichya, that the Yitzchak tells Esav that you're going to live by your sword. That like his thing is anger. That his problem. So when a person is being angry, so like he's really the most antithetical thing to being Jewish is being Esavi. So when you're being angry, that you're actually personifying what it means to be the arch enemy of the Jewish people.
But like there's times in the Torah when like Moshe was angry when he came down and saw the Chet HaEgel and he broke the Luchot HaBrit. Like, how was anger?
Over there, it doesn't say that he was angry. Actually, in other places, it actually does say that Moshe did get angry. One of when we said that one of the things about the person that gets angry is that he forgets his wisdom, that he loses his wisdom. That we learn out from Moshe Rabbeinu. When he threw down the tablets, I wouldn't call that anger per se, but you are correct that there is a place for anger. There is a correct place for anger, because we see somebody even greater than Moshe Rabbeinu gets angry, and that is Hashem. Hashem sometimes gets angry. Okay, it says by Avodah Zarah. It says by Avodah Zarah that Hashem gets angry, and there is an appropriate place for anger, but it's the minority. It's the minority. Like for the purpose of this class, I'm going to assume that usually when we are getting angry, we should tell ourselves, stop getting angry. We shouldn't tell ourselves, this is probably one of those places that you're supposed to get angry. That's probably what most people that get angry are always telling themselves. Like, yeah, this is for sure a mitzvah to get angry over here, because like he's so wrong. And so I think most of the time, so it's healthier to assume that we should not be getting angry, and that's how we're gonna just become the best version of ourselves. So to understand how to deal with it. So obviously we need to understand what really anger is all about. But the first thing is that I'm going to share with you a teaching from the Baal Tanya. The Baal Tanya is quoting from the Ramak. It says that the different negative character traits, so they all stem from one of the four elements. Right? It says that there's four elements, right?
Water, wind, air, fire.
Correct. So in science today we have much more than four elements, right? There's in Greek chemistry. So once upon a time they thought that everything was really just different connections, different combinations of these four elements of fire and water and earth and air, and like now we have a periodic table that has a couple more than that. 138. What is it? Anyway, there's this concept of four elements. One of my parents once said that it's still true scientifically that it's not these four elements, but there's four states of matter. There's four states of matter, that there's solid, liquid, gas, and energy. And that's really that's probably what, when the Mukubalim talk about four elements, that like on a true level, that's what they're referring to. So anyway, so it says that there's four elements, and that each of the four character traits, negative character traits, are coming from one of those. And so it says, what is the source of anger? It says the anger comes from fire. Anger comes from fire. So the knowledge that anger comes from fire can assist us in understanding how to deal with it, right? So I once heard a very interesting thing. I don't remember who I heard this from. That it's let's start with somebody else. That if somebody else is angry, somebody that it's in our life is angry at us, let's say, and so we want to deal with the anger. So anger is fire. So there's three ways that you can put out fire. You can put out fire with wind, right? You can put out fire with water, and you can put out fire with earth. choking it, right? There's a different word, but like to suffocate it. Yeah. So you can put out the fire with air, you can put out the fire with water, and you can put out the fire with earth. So what does that mean? So what does it mean to put out the fire with wind, with air? So that means to talk to them, like to explain yourself. I hear where you're coming from. Let me hear me out. Let's just like hear each other out, and then by understanding, then you come to a place that he won't be angry. What does it mean to put out the fire with water? So the water is connected to chesed. So that means that if somebody's angry at you, so one way to get rid of their anger is to give them a present. Okay, it's tried and true that people have difficulty being angry at people that gave them an amazing present. So I had this experience once. A Purim. I read this trick in Rebbe that he writes about Mishlach Manas, that you can how you can connect with people through Mishlach Manas. And so there was this guy that he was angry at me for something stupid, really stupid, what he was angry at me for. And but he wasn't talking to me. And I didn't know how to, and every time I tried to bring it up with him, he refused to talk to me. And it was there was having this coldness, this detachment for 4 or 5 months. And then came Purim. Then I had this great idea. I'm going to give him shalachmanas. And so I gave him. So I walked to it's Purim. He can't get angry at somebody who's giving you shalachmanas. And I gave him shalachmanas. And I gave him a hug. And then lived happily ever after. It's a wonderful. Usually you can't give a person a present. It's like somebody's angry at you. You can't just walk over to the street and just here, I was thinking of you. Here, I bought you a cake. It's awkward. But on Purim, everything goes. So it's an awesome opportunity to make up with the people that are angry at us. So that's what it means. That's what it means to put out the fire with water. And finally, how do you put out the fire? How do you put out the fire with earth?
Bury him. So
that'll certainly take care of it. But if I want to be the earth, so then it's simply by not reciprocating. Right? That it takes two to tango, and if a person's getting very angry at you, and they really want you to fight back, then the more that you just belittle yourself and you don't react. You don't react. You just accept it. I get you. I hear you. And then eventually they can't keep angry if they're not getting any validation. So that's the 3 ways. Now this if we take this to ourselves, because more importantly it's where we want to be able to take care of our own anger, even though we also want to take care of all the people outside that are angry at us. But we also want to take care of the anger inside of ourselves. So what would it mean? What would it mean to put out the anger, to put out the fire with air? So that means to talk with ourselves. Okay, that means to have this self-conversation, whether this is in the form of hisbodedus, whether we're talking to Hashem, whether we're journaling. And I had this teaching once that Rebbe Nachman talks once about that he wishes that you can have an hour of hisbodedus before an hour of hisbodedus. So I explained that what he's really referring to, the hour of hisbodedus before the hour of hisbodedus, that's what we call journaling. Because why do you need an hour? Why do you need hisbodedus before hisbodedus? Because you're not really sure what to say. And so journaling is when you get in touch with yourself. And once you're in touch with yourself, then you can know what to say to Hashem. So that for the purpose of putting out the fire, I'm angry about something. So the more that I speak it out with myself, so then it's much more palatable. It's I can take it. I don't have to get angry. There's an idea called malchus peh. Malchus peh means that the kingship of speech, meaning that if something is just in my mind, in my thoughts, so then it controls me, and then it overwhelms me, and then it's the stress is just taking me over. So, but to put it into words, to get it down, to talk about it, so then I'm controlling it. Then the issue no longer controls me, I control the issue, and then everything just gets more calm when you're able to talk about it. So that's the first way to put out the anger, by just talking to myself, just getting why are you so angry? What do you want to do about it? Certainly it never helps. It never helps to get angry. Nobody likes to get angry. Nobody. It doesn't serve us. It doesn't serve us to be angry. We always lose out. We sometimes make fools of ourselves. We certainly lose our peace of mind. I feel so like sometimes I'm angry at somebody because they did something that because of what they did, I'm going to lose 500 shekel, and because I'm so angry about it, so I can't concentrate in Shemana Esrei, and then I feel myself like this is not only did I lose 500 shekel, I even lose the Shemana Esrei. And it's the most annoying feeling that I'm killing myself more than he's killing me. So anger doesn't serve us. So just the more that we speak to ourselves, to speak it out, so then that's smothering, that's taking out the fire with air. Okay. Now, what does it mean to put out the fire? To put out the fire with water. So we said before that with somebody else you can do chesed, right? You can do it means to do chesed because then when they love you, then now for ourselves. So a similar thing works. It's not about being kind to yourself, but it's about doing something else. It's about distractions. Okay? That the idea of putting out the fire with water when it comes to yourself is distracting yourself. It's just simply doing something else and forcing yourself to be conscious of the fact that I'm putting that aside. There's a story about the Chafetz Chaim that he had this that he had a Kaas hat. He had a Kaas hat, and every time that he got angry, every time that he started to get angry, so he would go to the closet and he had a certain hat that he would put on. I assume that he's the only one who knew what the difference is with him, because that would be embarrassing. I assume it was identical to his regular hat. It was just, so here's my weekday hat, here's my Shabbos hat, here's my Kaas hat. It was somewhere in between his weekday hat and his Shabbos hat. It was just, I guess it depends how often he got angry. That's how dirty it is. But so he had a Kaas hat that he would put on. So to do that, to do something active, to do something consciously, that's to walk over to the closet and to put on a hat. So that's something that distracts you from just letting the anger just take control of you. Similarly, there's a story of Naftali Rapshitzer that Naftali Rapshitzer, he had this box of tabak. That a silver box of tabak, and it was empty. It was empty. He would walk around with this empty tabak box. And so at some point, Chassidim asked, like Rebbe, what's the deal with your empty tabak box? So he told them that whenever I feel like I'm getting angry, so I put the anger and I put it in the tabak box, and I leave it there for 2 hours. And then after 2 hours, then I take it out, and then I see if I still want to be angry. And it's the same idea as the Chafetz Chaim, that to do something consciously, and he was opening and closing this box. That was his way of just putting it aside, just distracting himself from the anger to make sure that I'm giving you your space. I'm just putting it on the side. I'm not letting it control me. And last but not least, perhaps most importantly, is that to put out the fire with earth. So what does it mean? What does it mean to put out the fire with earth, with ourselves? So Rebbe Nachman teaches us that earth is connected to emunah. And there's a pasuk in Tehillim that says Shechon Eretz Ure'ei Emunah, that dwell in the land and graze on emunah. Okay, so we see from here that emunah has an nekuda of being connected to the earth, and that's because when a person is full of emunah, so he's actually surrendering, and this is really the truest way to overcome anger is through emunah, because why do we get angry? The only reason to get angry is only if you don't have emunah. If a person knows that everything is from Hashem, so then there's no way to get angry. It's completely impossible. It's completely impossible to get angry if you know that something is from Hashem, because we know that Hashem loves us and Hashem has our best interests in mind. So whatever is happening is supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen, and it's for our best. Or somehow there's nothing. How can you get angry? If somebody that loves you does something to you, and you know that they did it on purpose. They did it because they know that this is exactly what you need. So you can't get angry with them, even if it's uncomfortable. But there's no room for anger. There's simply no room for anger. So this is true. This is true when things just like start happen to us. When we fall, or when we lose something, when with like the stock market drops, it's like things that there's two kinds of things that can happen. Things that just happen to us, and it's more difficult when somebody does something to us, right? So with both of them, the solution is emunah. There's a famous story. There's a famous story with the time of the Beis Halevi that there was a guy he was a sheikh, and he had a question about the kashrut of one of his cows, and he came to the Beis Halevi and he looked at it and he's like, sorry, like it's like this is treif, this is mamish treif. You're gonna, and like to lose for a cow is a lot of money. It's like, think of how many steaks are in a cow, and it's a lot of money. He was giving him a loss of like, I don't know, nowadays it would probably be like over $1,000, and he said okay, like he took it like a man, and then a couple of months later, so then he had a fight with his neighbor about some monetary thing, and it was a fight about $200, and unfortunately he was a chronic loser, and the other guy won, and he started cursing him out, and he just lost it. He lost it. So, and Beis Halevi was telling his students afterwards that this same guy that 2 months ago, so he lost 5 times the amount, and he took it. He took it bravely, and he didn't get upset. So why is the difference? Why over here is he getting angry? Because over here he has someone to get angry at. Like when my animal is treif, so then like that much money he had, that like whatever's supposed to be is going to be like that. Like Hashem sent me a bad animal, and like that's okay. But when somebody else is involved, then it's much more difficult. So, but emunah is to know that just like you understand, like some people don't even understand it by the cow. Like some people would absolutely be going crazy when they lost money in the stock market, or just something that just happens. That, but if somebody else takes your money, so then they're going to understand that nobody can hurt me unless Hashem wants them to hurt me. That there's no such thing as that it's because of him that I lost this. That anything that was not supposed to happen to me will never happen to me. So a person who has emunah will never get angry. Right? Even if somebody else is trying to do something to me. So the knowledge that anything that I lose, I was supposed to lose. There was no such thing. It wasn't supposed to be better. It wasn't supposed it's exactly the way it was supposed to be, and nobody can change that. Nobody can steal money from me. Nobody can, and the knowledge that everything that's supposed to be is going to be. Nothing can take me by surprise. Nothing can go against what was supposed to be. So this is really a very powerful way to make sure that we don't get angry. Yes, that's so emunah is really the secret. The secret of not getting angry is really emunah. That's what it means to put out the fire with earth. Okay. So now that if we want to think about like what exactly is anger all about, so there's two steps really. There's two parts of the anger process. The first is on the inside, and the second is on the outside. The first is, let's call it kpeda. Kpeda means the person is upset on the inside about the fact that something is wrong. Okay, so and then that after a person is annoyed, and person is upset, then it lashes out. Like then it starts on the inside. It starts because you're never going to scream at somebody. You're never going to go crazy unless your inside world, unless your soul is upset, right? So the anger starts on the inside and it continues to the outside. And it's two different things. Like a person that's on the inside angry, so he should tell himself, first of all, I want to stop being angry. But even if I can't stop being angry on the inside, I want to make sure that I'm not going to get angry on the outside. Right? It's another avodah. It's another thing to try to harness ourselves that the anger shouldn't get out. Right? So it's two different problems, two different parts, and it's two different avodas in stopping it. So So first things first, that the source of all anger is all about kapeda, and there's a teaching from the Tzemach Tzedek that he says that when the Tanya writes that the source of anger is from fire. So the truth is that he writes another thing as well. He says that fire not only breeds anger, it also breeds arrogance. It's kas ve'gaiva, and he says that the fire of the anger is when you're all like enraged, but gaiva, arrogance, is also from fire, because fire is always going up. So it's the nature of fire to always go up, and a person who's full of himself, he's always full of harer, he's always going up. So the Tzemach Tzedek explains what's the connection between the two, because really the source of anger is actually from gaiva. Why? Because the only reason why you get angry is because you have a certain core belief that things are supposed to go the way I want them to go. That I believe deep down that I'm the center of the universe. So if something is good for me, then it should happen. If something's bad for me, it shouldn't happen. So because I have this core belief, so when things don't go my way, so then I'm always startled. What the heck? How? But that's not good for me. How could that possibly happen? And so when I realize that I'm actually not the center of the universe, and actually I'm just a little tiny part on the outside, I'm just I'm actually not, when the decision makers are making the decisions of what's going to happen. So they're I may be number 2075, and I'm not there's a lot of things that are more important than me in terms of deciding what's going to actually happen in the world. So when I realize my place, when I stop being full of myself, when I stop thinking that the most important thing in the world is what's best for me, so then a lot of the anger subsides. It's easier to understand that I'm not going to get when you're part of something, when you're a person that's in the army. So they realize that it would be better for me if we go this way, we go to this city because in the city next to that city I have a cousin that I haven't seen in a long time. But you realize that in the considerations of the army, that the fact that you're going to visit your cousin is, nobody cares. The only concern is really what's better for strategically to destroy the enemy. So when I realize that I'm lower down on the hierarchy of what really matters in life, so then I okay, I'll just roll with the punches, and that I guess that was just what needed to be. Okay, so now the most important character trait to not have kapeda is simply to be easygoing. Okay, and this is if you really want to know how to not get angry. So you can call this there's two things. There's a person who has patience. Person who has patience, and there's a person who's just easygoing. Okay, what's the difference? The person who has patience is that I noted that you wronged me, but I can hold it in. That's patience, right? And that's a person that he doesn't get enraged. Right? That patience is that I do get angry. I don't. Maybe angry is the wrong. I feel crossed. What I'm calling kapeda. That I feel crossed, but I don't get enraged because I have patience. Okay, but really, the better way to overcome this is to not feel crossed, to just be chill, to just be easygoing. And this is the most amazing meter the person can have. This is something that the Sefer Charedim writes, that it says in the Torah about Noach, that Noach matzah chen b'nei Hashem, that Noach, he found favor in the eyes of Hashem. So it doesn't say why. It doesn't say why. It says everybody else Everybody else was bad. Noach matza chen be'enei Hashem. So he says, why? How did he find favor in the eyes of Hashem? So the Sefer Charedim writes that the Torah doesn't say what he did, but it's hinted to in his name. That fact that he was Noach, matza chen, Noach, it's the same letters, that he found favor in the eyes of Hashem because of his Noach. Noach means to be easygoing. That to be easygoing is the greatest thing that can find favor in the eyes of Hashem. And he quotes a Gemara in Pesachim. The Gemara says in Pesachim Kovi Gimel that Shleisha HaKadosh Baruch Hu Oivim, that there's three people that Hashem loves them. Misha and Akais, a person that doesn't get angry, a person that I think I wrote this down. I didn't write this down. Okay, the three people is a person that gets angry. One is the person that's maver al midaisav, and one is the person that's not kayas, and the third is
person that's not what? What was this?
The person that's maver midaisav, the person that even when I should get angry at you, I overlook it.
Okay.
Overlook it, and a person mishan mishtaker. Yeah, that you were talking about that before. Person that doesn't get angry, a person that doesn't get drunk, and a person that even when people do wrong him, he lets it go. So
doesn't get drunk.
Doesn't get drunk. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's a tough one. So maybe we have exceptions for Rangans. Yeah, I'm just kidding. So it says that a person, so Hashem specifically loves a person that doesn't get angry. This is what I mean. The person that wants that Hashem to love him, the person that wants to find favor in the eyes of Hashem. So just be an easygoing person. So when you're an easygoing person, so then you don't even notice. It's not that I have patience. That you wronged me. You wronged me 10 times this past year, but it's okay. Under 50, I let it go. Like a person who's just chill says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Really? You insulted me? I didn't know it." That's
the most annoying, by the way.
What?
When someone is like, "Oh, I didn't even notice you insulted me."
it's annoying if you're trying to insult them. So I hope to annoy you. You know what I mean? So to be a chill person, to be a person that just doesn't have kveta, there is that I didn't notice. I don't take things personally. I always a person that's always going to be stiff and always going to be to stick up for my rights and always going to, and nobody likes these people, and Hashem doesn't like them either. Okay, so this is the first element of thing is kapeda, and in terms of techniques, in terms of a guide to help to make sure that we don't get angry. So if the first step of anger is kapeda, there's something that we know naturally that sometimes it's easier to feel crossed, to feel upset, and sometimes it's harder. So we know that when we're tired, it's easier to get upset. When we're hungry, it's easier to get upset. When we're stressed, it's easier to get upset. So that it's totally in our power to make sure that we are not hungry, that we're not tired, that we're not stressed, and the more that we take care of ourselves, so then we're going to make sure that we're not going to get angry, because we're not going to that inner switch of I'm annoyed at you, that I won't have to hold myself back from getting enraged if I don't feel crossed in the first place, because when we're in a good mood, so then we don't always just think that people are trying to cross us. So I remember before I got married, so somebody, my chassan teacher told me you should never come home hungry. Never come home hungry. You should always keep a bag of cookies on you, so that you before you walk in the door. It's good advice. If you come home hungry, so then you never know what you're going to come into. You're never going to come into the whole house is upside down. Everybody is screaming and everything, and to not be hungry is a good recipe for not to get angry. And it's the same thing. When it comes to stress. So there's a teaching from the Ben Ish Chai that the time of the week that it's the easiest to get angry is right before Shabbos. Right before Shabbos, people have a tendency to get angry, and it's obviously it's because of stress. It's because there's a lot of last minute things everybody forgot, and so because of the stress of the last minute, so then it's just we're more prone to get angry, and so it's crazy important to, as much as we can, to avoid stress and to be aware of the fact that when we're stressed, then we have to be super on the lookout to make sure that we take things with proportion, to take everything with many grains of salt. Okay, so this is regarding the first step. The first step is the first step of avoiding chaos is to avoiding kpeda, to avoid this situation that on the inside we feel like just be chill people, to just be easygoing people, that we don't take things personally. We don't assume that people are trying to hurt us. We don't assume that the reason why they forgot to thank us is because they actually don't appreciate us. We don't assume that the reason why they didn't invite us is actually because they don't like us. And is that not just I never decide whether or not I'm going to go to a wedding based on if I was invited. If I feel close to this person, I'm going to go to the wedding. I will never be offended that somebody forgets to invite me. I don't think that it's personal. It's just I think it's American mentality that I'm not going to go because I wasn't invited. Come on, what? Do you think that they're happy to see you? Yes. So of course you should go. You have to go. So the first thing is, the first nayach is to be easygoing people, and this is really the truest opposite of an angry person is an easygoing person. Okay, so and then we come to the thing to the second part, and that is the part of rage. The part is when the feeling of being crossed, when it wants to explode, when it comes to come into the outside. So now we come to another teaching of Rebbe Nachman. So there's an idea from the Tanya that with every negative character trait, with every negative tendency, so there's two ways to deal with evil. One is called iskafia. Iskafia means to stop it, and one is called ishapch, means to turn it over. Okay, to turn bad into good. Okay, somebody once explained that this is the difference between karate and judo. I think in karate, so when somebody hits you, so you block him. But in judo, when somebody hits you, you turn it around on him. You use his strength against him. You channel his energy into your own. So that's his hapcha. So now Rebbe Nachman has a teaching. It's based on a pasuk in Chavakuk that we say this in davening. It says beroges rachem tizkor. Beroges rachem tizkor. What does it mean? Beroges rachem tizkor. So on a simple level, so we're asking Hashem that when you're getting angry, so remember your rachman. But Rebbe Nachman writes in Torah Yud Ches that really when a person is feeling this rage, so turn the feeling of rage into compassion. Okay, meaning don't just suffocate the fire, but transform the fire of rage, transform it into a fire of compassion. Okay, to be fiery in the compassion that you have towards the person, and so this is true on numerous levels. Number one, it's you could look at it psychologically. You could say that whoa, this person that's being so bad to me, so they must be having a hard day. There's a story that there was a Gabbai Tzedakah. There's a story from 100 years ago in Yerushalayim. There was a Gabbai Tzedakah that the one day he was giving away. He was distributing funds, and there was some poor guy that came over to him, and he said, I need money, I need money for Shabbos. So he said, yeah, but I gave you yesterday. So, like, this is for people who didn't get yesterday. Like, so, and out of like I don't know why, like the poor person, he started yelling at me. He started getting angry. He said, "What, you think this is your money? It's for poor people. I need the money. So what are you doing with it?" And the guy says, like, "I'm sorry, and I can't give you because I gave you yesterday." And he keeps yelling at them, and eventually he slaps him across the face. The poor person slaps the garbage sack across the face, but by this time it had been a whole scene, like there's a whole, like, people are gathering around, and so he said here he wrote down an address, and he said, go to this person and tell them that I asked that the way that the money that he usually gives me at the beginning of the week, next week, so I request, if he doesn't mind, to give it to you right now instead of giving it to me at the beginning of next week. So he said, so after he left, so like the people asked him, like, why did you do that? Like, it's like, we're amazed that you didn't just punish him, we didn't just yell back at him, but like, it's not enough that you didn't yell at him, you gave him what he doesn't deserve. So he said, listen, if he got to the point that he's doing something so horrible, to, like, I'm helping him with his to make it through the week, and he knows that he needs me, and he knows that I'm a great person, and he knows that I help him, and he's slapping me across the face, then you know the situation is bad. So if the situation is that bad, then he really needs help. Okay, a more modern story that I read about is that once there was some, I don't exactly know how it works, but like there was some kind of takeaway restaurant that you ordered online, and like you got a number, and then you pay for your order, and you like based on the number, and like you know which car you are or whatever, and so there was a person that, like, there was an old person that apparently there was, like, it was taking them a long time to get their credit card out of the wallet, and it was taking them a long time, and the person behind them kept on honking, and like they had no patience, and they were just like honking, like, making it for like, it was taking like 3 minutes, let's say. This person, like, after like 1 minute, like for 2 minutes straight, straight of honking, but like the old person was like, it's okay, and then finally they finished, and so the person came to pay, and the clerk told him that the guy before you, he paid for you. And the guy was so embarrassed that he had been hacking at the person for so long, and he said, "What? I was being so rude to him. I was hacking straight. I was being so annoying. How could he be?" So he said, "Yeah. He told me that well, this guy must be having a hard day. This guy must be having a hard day. So like, I'll give him a break. He deserves something good in his day." So and the end of the story was that he said, "Well, that's so sweet. I want to pay for the person behind me." And apparently this continued for like the next 20 people. So like everybody was buying for the person after them. It's a very beautiful story. But I want to take from this that Baruch is Racham Tizkor on a very psychological level, on a very simple level, is that if somebody is being mean to us, so maybe they're actually going through a hard time. You know, there's an expression that hurt people. That like when people are being mean, like it's because somebody was mean to them. It's because nobody wants to be like this. Like there's, and so there's a certain compassion that I can be when somebody is being mean to me. So to bring out, to realize that the fact that they're being so offensive, it's probably because they have something that's going wrong in their life. That, to be honest, that like even without that, you can just think to yourself that like I have compassion on you because you're such an angry person. You know, like the mere fact that you're this person that's always like, whenever anybody's doing anything that goes against what you want, that like your life is hell. Like I honestly feel bad for a person that is always getting angry. So I can Baruch Rachim Tizkor, I can have compassion on the person when he's wronging me, just because I feel bad for him, because he's turning his own life into hell. So that's on a psychological level. However, I do believe that Rebbe Nachman is referring to something greater as well, and that is that the person that even without the element of compassion, to just simply turn it into love, that a person can take this very fire and channel it into compassion. And it's I'll tell you that first of all, I have this, like I've had this in my own life, that sometimes like with babies, or and babies like until 6, they're still babies. So like sometimes they'll do something that's like they'll just like throw a tantrum out of for no reason, and they're just screaming, and you're trying to get them dressed, and they refuse to get dressed, and and you're late, and you're going to be late for a class, you're going to be late for an appointment, and you can't take it anymore, and you want to scream, and so when I remember this teaching of Rebbe Nachman, and at that moment that I want to scream, so instead of screaming, I give them a kiss on the head, and to transform, to channel the energy, the negative energy, the fiery energy of anger, and to simply channel it into a kiss. So that's the greatest ishapcha. That's the greatest tikkun. That's the greatest you can call it sweetening of this negative energy, and to simply turn it into something positive. And there's a teaching. There's a story with a chaznish. The chaznish was once talking to his students, and he said he was that, I don't know if he was talking about the thing about the halacha of not to take revenge, and he said it was once in my life I took revenge on somebody, and he had a sense of humor, the chaznish, and like they're all all ears, and he said, when I was very young, when I was like a teenager, so there was like I was in the basement, and I took out a Gemara that I wanted to learn with, and for some reason the guy in charge of the shul, he had just cleaned up the shul and put away all the sfarim, and he was like super upset with me for taking out the sefer, even though I was about to learn, and he starts yelling at me and like, "What, you think this is your base marriage? You can make such a balagan?" And he grabbed the Gemara out of my hands and he put it back. He said, "Get out of here!" And so the next day, this guy, another part of his job was to collect tzedakah during davening. So he said, I went in front of him, and like nobody was really giving tzedakah, and I reached in my pocket and I gave him I put a good, like I don't know what coin it was, but like a good coin, not like something that worth something, and then I said, hold on. They took some, and he's blocking him. They can't go for it. And he takes another coin, he puts it, and he takes another coin, and he takes another coin. This is 15. He gives them 15 times that he filled the thing with tzedakah, and that as soon as he finished, so the guy was like, the guy was feeling a lot of remorse as he was like, look what I did, like this. And so as soon as he finished, the guy says, I'm so sorry about last night. From now on, whenever you need a Gemara, it's all yours. You feel at home here. And so this is the Chazon Ish was able to just transform, instead of having anger, to take the anger into an act of kindness, into an act of that, like I want to make you feel good. I'm going to channel this negative energy into positive energy. So that is really the greatest way to take care of it. So this is the way we can really take care of anger, and to really to be just the kind of people that we want to be the kind of people that other people want to be around, to be able to first of all to smother the fire with with air, to smother the fire with water, to smother the fire with emunah. Most importantly, to just remember that there's no mistakes. There's nothing. You can't lose your job if Hashem wanted you to have a job. You can't lose this relationship if Hashem wanted you to have this relationship. There's no mistakes. Everything is coming from Hashem, and Hashem loves us. So there's no room to be angry, and this really allows us to come to get rid of the kpeda, to v'nayach matzachim b'nei Hashem, to just be nayach people, just be easygoing people, to chill people, and last but not least, that when we have these negative energies, to channel them into something good, to put them to not to just try to smother them, but actually to make something good out of them, to just turn it into a positive energy of rachamim, of compassion. So l'chaim, to being chill.